Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Here in this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know in regards to AMC stock, a potentially big catalyst coming here in after hours that could help broaden out our markets quite a bit, could help AMC stock to rally. We're really at a critical level right now with this 50-day moving average situation. If we can get above that and close out this week above that, meaning tomorrow, that's going to be great heading into the next couple of weeks. That could really set us up for some larger upside here. Just to kind of put this into perspective, if we get above that 50-day moving average and head to the 100-day moving average, that would be 36%, 36.5% upside from just the 50-day moving average. So that could look like quite a bit of a rally going ahead. Now, right at about the time of recording this video, you are going to be getting your Broadcom, Marvell, some of your earnings coming out here in after hours. Again, here is the lineup: Broadcom, Costco, Marvell, MongoDB, DocuSign, Samsara, Petrobras, Big Bear AI, Gap, and Runway. Big Bear AI, Marvell, Costco, and Broadcom. Those are going to be your bigger names, especially around your AI trade. Big Bear AI, literally in the name, although they're less important, they're still going to be added here. Marvell and Broadcom. If any of these stocks, but specifically Broadcom, if they fall after earnings, that's going to have an algorithmic effect on all of your other quote-unquote AI stocks, like NVIDIA, like Intel, like Dell, AMD, SMCI. If those stocks fall, well, hey, you can get a broadening out of our markets. You can get capital going into other areas of our markets, because the challenge really has been here in 2024 with the rally that we've seen in the markets. If you take a look at the percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average, it's really not that great. I mean, not that great at all. You're at 56%. To start 2024, the broad-based kind of rally that you've seen from November through the end of December, you were at 86% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. That was a very strong rally, kind of like the summertime July 2023 rally, right? You had about 76% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. I mean, those are strong periods of time. Right now, the markets are hitting all-time highs as only 56% of stocks are above their 50-day moving average, meaning that it's really just a couple of names that are packing all of the punch for the S&P and the NASDAQ. So it's really the AI stocks that are causing the broader indexes to continue to hit all-time highs. Well, with that being said, there's not a lot of money coming into our markets, right? Capital is kind of dry out there. There's $6.2 trillion in money market funds. There's a lot of, believe it or not, cash on the sidelines. And the money, the market cap, think about market cap here. NVIDIA, just on earnings alone, gained about $270 billion of market cap following their one-day, gain of after earnings. Think about since then, NVIDIA has went from about $750 or so to $920 at the time of recording this video. They've added hundreds of billions of dollars of market cap since they added $270 billion of market cap in a single day on their earnings. Think about Broadcom, right? They've added hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap as well over the past couple of months. AMD, same kind of story there. SMCI, they've all added billions or hundreds of billions of dollars to their market cap. Even think about Microsoft. By a lot of quote unquote experts accounts, there's $1 trillion of AI value baked into Microsoft. I mean, where's that money coming from? It's coming from your small and mid cap stocks. It's coming from a stock like Tesla, these stocks that have gotten beaten down over the past couple of months. Even think like AMC, right? If you start to get an unwind to this AI trade, which could begin here in after hours, that could cause a broadening out of our markets. That would be great news for AMC. Obviously, I don't know how these earnings are going to be. I'm looking at them right here on this other monitor, and it doesn't look like they are out just yet. So we'll see ultimately what does happen. Maybe we'll have those earnings for you here in this video. If not, if there's any big surprises, I will bring you that information, because I do think it will be important for AMC stock and for other areas of our markets, like your average stock, and you could actually see your average stock start to outperform again, start to do well again, based on maybe a miss by Broadcom, Marvell, some of these other stocks. Costco will also be an important one here in after hours. High flyer retailer. I mean, that stock just continues to hit all-time highs. Just almost every single day, it's just higher and higher and higher. Costco is not expected to move around all too much. Broadcom's not expected to move too much on earnings. So if you do get a big surprise there, it could really nonetheless surprise the markets. Now, that these earnings happen today in after hours, so tomorrow you're going to see the sympathy effects. It's the sympathy moves, right, with Nvidia, with these other AI stocks, and either these Broadcom and Marvell, they're going to have great earnings and cause a sympathy reaction and cause these other AI stocks like Nvidia, AMD, or whatnot to also rise coming tomorrow. Or indeed, you're going to get the opposite, where these stocks sell off, and you're going to get a selling off of these stocks coming tomorrow. So I'm expecting a large move for your AI stocks here over the next 24 hours or so. Keep in mind, you do have data coming out tomorrow morning with non-farm payrolls. You're expecting 200,000 job ads for the month of February. We'll see if January was just the anomaly. Some people point to January as kind of seasonal adjustments and revisions and all of that. But February, I mean, that's the important one, right? To see, was this kind of a fluke in the data, if you will, or is there actually a very strong economy on our hands? 200,000 job ads would be a very strong number. If you come in hotter than that, the markets are probably going to sell off on that because the Fed's not going to be in any rush to start cutting rates. If you come in less than 200,000 job ads, then that's going to be great news. The ADP employment change on Wednesday did come in a little bit lighter than expected. Some people take that as a hint or a cue that the non-farm payroll report's also going to come in lighter than expected. So we'll have to wait and see. We will also get the unemployment rate coming out tomorrow, expected to come in at 3.7%. Any move higher or lower obviously can be important, but you're really looking for a big move. If you get a big move in unemployment, let's say higher, if we were to jump to like 4% unemployment, somehow, I don't know how that would make sense, but sometimes you do see big jumps in the unemployment rate or big drops in the unemployment rate. Usually if you're going to see a big move, it's usually a jump to the upside. That could be something that could be interpreted as maybe bad news, but in this market environment, bad economic data is seen as good news for stocks and good news for markets. So I think that's really a toss-up whether or not the unemployment rate jumping, if that does happen tomorrow, would be good news or if that would be bad news. But just remember, a higher unemployment rate is never going to be a good thing, right? When the markets are fearful about a recession, the higher the unemployment rate, the more likely or the closer you are to actually heading into the big bad wolf itself, which is a recession. If we do get kind of this reset to some of your AI stocks, a little bit of downside there, that could lead into more of a boost to your interest rate sensitive names, your smaller and mid cap names, like an AMC. And what you're seeing today right now, AMC stock is almost at that 50-day moving average, actually a little bit above that right now. AMC stock is at $4.66. That 50-day moving average is at $4.65 per share. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here in the last, couple of minutes of trading or whatnot, but if we can just hold this price, I don't care if we close 1 cent above this 50-day moving average, that's going to be great news and could lead to more upside for AMC stock over the next couple of weeks or so. And then, of course, we have the data coming out tomorrow, in which if that non-farm payroll report comes in a little bit lighter or even in line with expectations, that could also be good for some of your, small and mid-cap stocks, maybe some of your, interest rate sensitive names as well. So just something to keep in mind, something that I'm keeping in mind as we head into today and after hours and tomorrow. It's also worth mentioning that the S&P 500, just continues to rip faces off to the upside. There's very little downside volatility, and I think we are in a vulnerable position right now for bad news, for a pullback in markets. And if you do get a reset to some of your AI stocks, that could be the catalyst to give the markets larger downside from here. I think we're way overdue for some kind of correction, like way overdue for some kind of correction. I mean, even when the government was spending money like they were drunk with stimulus checks and the Fed was buying assets like nobody's business, there was more downside volatility than there is now, which is kind of crazy to keep in mind. And we have pulled forward so much as far as earnings expectations and growth in the S&P 500, given where it's currently trading at $515 for the SPY. You're expecting a lot, and I think that puts us in a vulnerable position. Now, with that being said, let's go over all of your specific AMC data that you need to know. You do have 13.16% short interest of free float, $157.22 million currently in short positions. Days to cover 2.16, 34.48 million shares that are currently sold short, 46.04 million shares that are currently out on loan, cost to borrow 1.1%, utilization of 67.9%, and a short score of 67.85 out of 100. So the data keeps getting more squeezable, if you will, with AMC stock. Every single day it seems like the short interest continues to climb. Now, here on the day today, you had call volume of 83.98%, put volume at about 16%. So, you know, over 5 times more calls today than puts on AMC stock. That is, you know, a very bullish number. You also had 2 orders totaling $108,000 from hedge funds and institutions today in AMC stock, with a positive order value of 100%. That's also a very strong number. If you take a look at the Stocko tracker data, you got about 20,000 calls currently in the money, expiring this week, this Friday, so tomorrow. Out the money calls at about 46,000, in the money puts at about 3,400, out the money puts at about 23,000. So yeah, a decent amount of option activity for this Friday, but it's really next week where things could get crazy. So if we can close above that 50-day moving average here today, I mean, or even tomorrow, and then, you know, over the next couple of weeks, we could start to get some serious upside in AMC, especially next week if some of those calls, you know, go into the money. There's 240,000 calls for next week that are currently out the money. If some of those start to go into the money, you could definitely start to get a large rally to the upside in AMC stock. And I think that's something that is so far off of people's radars right now, but it is definitely a possibility to keep in mind. Now, for AMC today, sentiment on StockTwits is bearish at 42. Yesterday it was at 60, which was bullish. So, you know, I mean, definitely not great. I mean, it's weird considering AMC stock is you know, green over 2% today. The fact that you're more bearish today than you were yesterday doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but nonetheless, that's what's happening. Message volume is at 52 today. Yesterday was at 50, so still considered normal. And the participation ratio is at 54, which is also considered normal. So there's that. If you take a look at the Fed rate monitor tool for December 18th, 2024, the end of this year, markets are currently pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4 rate cuts for 2024. That's another potential risk to our markets because, I mean, most of your Fed speakers are, you know, saying 2 rate cuts, maybe 1 rate cut in 2024. And we're still pricing in 4. So maybe that's a little bit of a risk here. If inflation obviously does not continue to fall, that would be an even larger risk because maybe that could open the door for a rate hike if the Fed thought they needed to do that. Okay, so that's could be another bit of a problem for our markets coming here over the next couple of weeks or so. But yeah, I think we are dramatically overdue for a pullback. So we'll see what does happen here in the near term. Tomorrow could be another catalyst to get that done. I think a pullback here would be healthy. Let's just say that. I mean, when markets go straight up like this with no downside volatility, that never is going to end well. It's always going to end with a large crash. So if we don't get a pullback here, then you could be looking at a large crash event, and I don't think anyone really wants that. Okay, 10-year treasury yields are up about 1 basis point here on the day today, so not too much action there. Your latest AI investor sentiment survey, let's see if there is the new one that's updated today, and it looks like there is. So 51.7% of investors are bullish right now, which is almost your 1-year high. Neutral investors at 26.5%, which is getting really low, and bearish investors at 21.8%, which is very low. So even on your sentiment kind of indicators here, you're definitely getting overstretched to the upside in any different metric that you want to look at. You're very vulnerable here for a pullback. So if you guys do have, a lot of bullish exposure here, options to the upside, you want to be a little bit careful, because it's not going to take a lot of bad news, I think, to get the markets to fall. Really, it's the AI trade. If you take out NVIDIA, for 2024, NVIDIA's added almost 2% to the S&P 500. I mean, that's kind of insane, and that's just NVIDIA, let alone any other stock that's AI related out there. I think the AI trade is going to be very important. Now, next week, you're also going to get the ARM lockup period. SoftBank is going to be able to dump massive amounts of their ARM position on the markets. And no matter which way you put it, it's not going to end well there, right? I mean, you're looking at potentially 1,000% dilution to the float. That's not going to end well. Okay, it's never going to end well when you invest in a company and that investment is worth more than your entire company. Yeah, like SoftBank's investment in ARM is worth more than the entire value of SoftBank. That's never going to end well. So let me know what you think about this information. Again, for AMC stock specifically, that 50-day moving average is the important level that you really want to be watching. If we can close above that today or tomorrow, that sets us up for even more upside from here. And I think AMC stock's been doing pretty good, better than I thought, honestly, following the last earnings that we just got, in which we really didn't get any kind of good information. I mean, if anything, it sounded like more dilution was coming. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.